2020 was a heck of a year for the hotel industry, but 2021 might be even more interesting.
Stick around to the end for a couple of secrets that are really easy to implement but will set your hotel apart from the rest.
So over the last year, in 2020, we thought Airbnb would become a thing of the past. We thought that, well, they can't keep up with lack of travel. The hotel industry is going to be able to surge back and we'll be doing better because of it. Well, it kind of happened the other way around. So in this episode, we'll be talking about how a hotel can compete with Airbnb in 2021. To do that, we kind of have to look at the Airbnb industry and see what they're offering. So in this video, I'm going to break that down for you, see what kind of things we can actually offer to our guests to make sure that we stay relevant and to make sure that we're able to provide the best service possible for our guests. Okay, let's look at Airbnb and see what they're actually offering that makes them so appealing.
So up until the last couple of years, this is what I thought of with Airbnb. Just somebody took a room in their basement, trying to make an extra $1,000 a month. And a couple extra rooms on the market was nothing to really be worried about. However, 2 years of not having to pay sales, arena, hospitality taxes, or any of the overhead such as staff, mortgage, or royalties has really allowed them to get ahead in the market. We really saw that during 2020. Can you believe that this little apartment's on the market right now for $32 a night? It has a washer, dryer, kitchen, workspace.
An industry that's overtaking us, we need to figure out. Let's look at some things that Airbnb is doing really well that we can borrow from them and make it better. Or we could just implement inside of our own hotels. Okay, so the number one thing that Airbnb does better than hotels right now, they're able to leverage authenticity. They're able to sell an experience. They're able to sell what their personal view of the city is. They're able to basically say, hey, look, I'm an authentic New Yorker, Lincolnite, or whatever, And they say this is how they're able to customize their area. Hotels need to get a lot better at being able to leverage the iconic nature of their local sports team or their area, the tradition of that area. If you have a historic hotel, this would be a great time to say, hey, I'm going to focus and double down on the history of this hotel. If you're gonna stand out in the future with an older hotel, you're gonna have to find a way to stand out. Everybody prefers to stay at the brand new hotel. It's just a fact. Usually older hotels are able to make their money off of competing in that budget area. Well, if you don't want to be playing that game, and for 2021, I don't think we should. There's just not enough money to go around at this point. There's just not enough gas. The reality is you need to find a way to distinguish yourself, to stand out. Another thing that Airbnb does really well is they're able to leverage their direct communication app. Again, hotels are able to, and this is an opportunity, hotels are able to now book through Airbnb. They're able to put their rooms on there, and that allows you to communicate directly with the guest. Probably not going to be the owner of the hotel or the GM that's communicating. Might be something to think about. But we do need to find a way to be able to have a more direct conversation with the guests so we can figure out what's making them happy, what they're expecting, how can we prepare for their visit. Airbnb is great because they're able to ask, how can I customize your stay? For somebody that's doing it as a side gig, spending an extra 15 minutes running over with a different type of pillow or running over and putting a box of mac and cheese inside of there because they found out that was their favorite thing. No big deal, but if you're a hotel and you have 110 guests that are coming in, it's a little bit harder to do. So my recommendation there would be to have each guest assigned to an employee. So that way they're responsible for that direct communication, that direct experience with that guest. Again, it's going to be a lot harder for 2021 because we don't have the staff we used to have. There's not the extra time, energy, what have you. A lot of us are trying to survive off of a shoestring budget. But if you could find a way, especially if you're an owner that's trying to figure out how to get things working, maybe you're the person that's communicating directly with the guest. There's an app that another YouTuber has that I think is a great way to communicate.
Stick around to the end for a coupon on how to use this app, a little bit more information about this app, and how it can help you build relationships with your guests.
It allows hotels to message their guests, ask them, hey, how's your stay? Is there anything I can get you? Check in on them. Also, having that communication makes it really easy at the end of the stay to say, hey, can you leave me a review? If they hated their stay, well, they're probably going to give you a bad review anyway, but you don't have to send them the link to TripAdvisor, Okay, so here are some of the best practices done by the superhosts on Airbnb. Superhosts tend to focus on ensuring their guests have long-term amenities. Obviously, parking and Obviously, parking and laundry on facility are important. Most hotels have that. Fully loaded kitchens though, that's something that a lot of us are gonna struggle with. One idea that I've been tossing around is, should I turn one of my meeting spaces into a communal type kitchen? Just an area that has several countertops, maybe with some toaster oven type things or some cooking tops. So that people have an area to prepare food. I don't know, it might be a good experiment. It would allow us to offer the kitchen experience without having to renovate 138 rooms. Another thing that I noticed that Airbnb hosts, the super hosts are doing, they tend to highlight their proximity to certain grocery stores. Again, their goal is to attract, and I'm sure everybody's goal is to attract the longer term guests, the higher paying guests. So they're trying to make sure they attract the higher paying guests with their price point. But then they're trying to ensure that they stay longer by making sure they understand they're gonna be close to all those amenities around them. Here's where the gas station is, here's where the Super Saver is, here's where the Walmart is. Another thing that hotels usually do really well, but something that's becoming 100% a make or break for hotels now are the creature comforts. Things like high-speed Wi-Fi. We just upgraded all of our stuff to fiber optic high-speed Wi-Fi. It's actually faster than my house, which is insane. It's like 150 download, and I think it's like 100 upload. It's insane. It's made for like massive gaming and TV streaming. Which brings me back to the next thing. A lot of Airbnb superhosts are putting apps on their televisions. They have smart TVs, obviously. They're offering things like Netflix, Hulu, HBO Go, those different apps that they're adding a second account on their TV for, and they're putting a parental control so they can't control it. I don't know how hotels are going to do that. I don't think that we're allowed to do, 150 rooms for a Hulu app, but having smart TVs, I think, is definitely a plus because it allows somebody to bring their own app with them and just log in. Making sure they know how to log in is important. Some other creature comforts include having a nice desk, not having to search for outlets. So now you've got these little charging stations inside of your rooms. Again, obvious things that if you go to a hotel in Las Vegas or something, you're gonna find older hotels, we really need to step it up. Nobody wants to reach behind their nightstand anymore to try to find an outlet to plug into. 2021, a lot of your guests are gonna be business type people that are being forced. They're the essential workers. Most people are probably not gonna be traveling for leisure. So make sure you have the amenities for your business traveler. One thing that I saw that superhosts are doing that I think we could probably take a page out of, I think Hilton and maybe Marriott they do something like this also, but having options in pillows at the front desk that they could either buy or ask them when they're checking in, which pillow would you like? That includes a memory foam gel pillow or whatever. It's kind of hard when our price point nowadays, at least for us, is probably be $50 or $60 a night, and the pillow costs $40. But having something that they can have the option of, or saying, look, this is the pillow we have, we'll swap it out, obviously a different pillowcase. Before they check in, ask them, what kind of pillow would you prefer? Be frustrating, people started walking off with those though, or employees started walking off with them. So obviously a lot of us understand thoughtful design. That means trying to make sure that your rooms are welcoming, they're not overly cluttered with old photography on the walls, they don't have the old gold rim paintings. Again, if you have the choice between a $32 a night place that looks great and an outdated looking hotel for $35 plus all the taxes, which you're gonna choose? If you're in town for one night, you're probably gonna choose the hotel. If you're in town for 3 or 4 days, Airbnb is probably gonna be the way you go. I'm not exactly sure how we'd be able to make our common spaces work in 2021. A lot of places have said, we don't want common areas because they're not good for the virus. If you're able to have it in your location, I definitely recommend utilizing it as a communal area. Obviously, you're gonna have to reduce the capacity, allowing 25% or whatever, making sure it's sanitized. But again, if you can build that sense of community, that relationship with your guests, that's really gonna be how you get your long-term returning guests in 2021. Another thing that I really like that Airbnb superhosts do, they usually have a local guide, just a small little binder. Again, in 150 rooms, it makes a difference. But just a small little binder saying, look, here are my favorite places to go out to eat, ask for this waitress. Here's a couple local coupons. Here are some fun things to do in town. Here's some for 2021. Here's some things that aren't shut down to do. Maybe some price point type things. Again, guided maps of the area. It takes you maybe about 15 minutes. You can go on Wix, or not Wix, Vistaprint, and make a little binder, print out 150 of them, make sure that it looks professional, small magazine or whatever, what have you. Put that in the room. It makes a huge difference. Those small things that people appreciate, they don't have to go on Google and try to figure out everything, you know. It also adds that feeling of culture. You have an idea of what the local area is.
Okay, so this one might sound like common sense, but it's a huge deal, and you need to market the heck out of this. You need to have some way to display the different ways that you sanitize your room, whether it's with an ozone machine, UV light, different chemicals that you use that have been certified to help control virus outbreak, kill 99% of viruses. Find a way to market that information, because that's what is going to rebuild trust in hotels, because people think of us as having commercial products. We need to make sure that we double down on letting people know that. So if you want people to stay with you, make sure you have a sign that says this was cleaned with X, Y, and Z on this day, and this is what it does. UV lights, whatever.
Okay, so fun bonus here for everybody that stuck around to the end. I reached out to the owner of TextGuest, textguest.com, and he said, hey, tell your viewers if they use the code The Ugly Motel, that's The Ugly Motel, like my name, they get 10% off, and hopefully this will help us level the playing field with Airbnb. This app will help increase your sales and marketing. It'll help you reach out to your guests with simple text messages, and my personal favorite, it'll help you with the local do not rent list. Protect yourself from troublesome guests going from hotel to hotel in your city and destroying your rooms before they get there.